Hey, Shalom, this is your brother Yawanathan. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakwadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. I want to say Shalom to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth and sincerity. May the blessing of election be upon you. Talk about the metric of which a man is measured here in this society, in this kingdom, and the one to come, which is going to be an everlasting kingdom. Now, there's some character traits from these two different men that may overlap, but they're worlds apart. Okay, where I want to start is I want to go to Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter. And I believe many of you probably already know where I'm going. 13th verse. Okay, so let's get there. Pull it up. And it reads, "Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter." What is the meaning of life? Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. When you fear someone, you regard the things that they say. You have reverence and respect for them. And when you have reverence and respect for our power, man, he can grant you long life. He can grant you anything. The scriptures tell you, seek first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things shall be added unto you. So, so a man that has this character trait, the fear for the Lord, he has access to anything. The Lord permit whatever, he needs to do to forward his will in the earth. The Lord's will. Okay. Now, we always, especially when Apostle Carr is around, he'll bring up Kevin Samuels. And Kevin Samuels made the term high value man more relevant in this time. But what I want to get into is he put parameters, like he put like a list of this is what qualifies somebody to actually be a high value man. And I looked at the list and I thought to myself, I said, damn, the men of the Lord possess all of these things in the spirit. So I want to go through that list and we're going to bring out precepts of how these are things that you have spiritually. And having these spiritual assets, especially as Jacob's trouble pops off, is going to vastly outweigh somebody who has these things carnally. It's going to do them no good. All right. So, but first, since we just read Ecclesiastes 12 and 13, I want to read, what is it at? I believe it's Job 28 and 28, right? Let's go there. And then we'll pull up that list. This is Job 28 and 28. And unto man, he said, behold, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom, and to depart from evil is understanding. So a man, he has to be competent. He has to have understanding so that he can be, a safe haven for a group of people, a household, the community. And having fear for the Lord is the gateway to true wisdom, so that you can provide provision and protection, foresight, problem solving, all these things. You see? Let's pull up that list. All right. So this is what is a high value man? This is the parameters that Kevin Samuel said. Well, not that he necessarily said. This is a term that he just kind of started to use and it got popular. But this category of man was, something before Kevin. He told you that himself. But it says money earns a minimum of 10K a month, adjusted per state. Now, money, we know the money here is going to crash. Also, being a man of the Lord, he keeps the men of the Lord in a place to where often a time, most of us, we have our daily bread sufficient from day to day. Some brothers have more, some brothers have less. And that's by design. You see, when you go to Ezekiel, the 9th chapter and the 4th verse, it tells you that the righteous are going to be sighing and crying for the abominations being done in the midst thereof. We're more closely acquainted with the evils that take place in the society when you're amongst the people, when you're in a particular tax bracket. Money can be a defense, and a lot of times when people have money, they can distance themselves from the cruel realities that are taking place in the earth. The prophets have to be in the midst so they can have firsthand experience with the evils that are taking place, so that they're constantly vexed. You know how many lessons are inspired just by a prophet having to go into a gas station and be around niggas? You know how many lessons come out, how much edification so the flock is fed just by having to be amongst particular groups of people, be in certain areas. Now that's not every brother's place where he's, you know, I'm not gonna sit here in front like I'm just doing bad, but I have sufficient from day to day. You see, and that's the place for most brothers. Now, our riches in through the spirit, okay, are not carnal. You see, the money that somebody may be earning, the carnal man on this side may be earning 10K on this side. It's not gonna do him any good when shit hits the fan. Let's go to Matthew the 6th chapter. All right, it reads, "Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon the earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt." Anything that you gain here on this side, it can be taken away. Especially because who's in rulership? Esau Edom's in rulership. For you to have, to reach a certain level of success, you're going to have to compromise on the instructions that the Lord has given us. The prime example, the whole Cat Williams thing. All right. He brought up the point that for these comedians to be in a certain, realm of fame, they got to put on a dress. That's a compromise on the instructions that the Lord has given us. And that's a small example. But the more you have particular carnal possessions in this earth, the more closely acquainted you have to be with the wicked. The earth was given into the hand of the wicked. Okay, so in that sense, man, we're free, not having we're kind of free from having to deal with this devil so close. We still got to deal with him again. He rules the world. All right, the Lord allowed him to rule for a disappointed time, but our riches are built in the heavens. It's not something that can be taken away from us. You see, but what you gain here can be taken from you. You could pay a house off here. This devil could write some laws out to where he, just takes your land. You hear the slogans that they're coming with. Carl Schwab, what you will own nothing and be happy. Moth and rust corrupts here. And for all these people that are making all this money, as he comes with this new system, in order for them to keep it, they're gonna have to bend the knee. They're gonna have to worship this man as their God. So no, the moth and rust on this side corrupts. All right, the riches on this side. Oh, there's a precept. I'm gonna finish reading this, but I'm gonna go get it. Another one just came to mind. "Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon the earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal." And we know who the main thief, the big thief is on the earth. Okay, "But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, where the thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." And a man is what he gives his time to. Okay, and the prophets are giving their time to the master of the universe, who has dominion over all things. All right? You are what you give your time to. Let's keep reading here before we jump around. It says, "For your treasure is, there will your heart be also. The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light." You got your priorities in order. Your priority is the ministry, is the will of the Father. We're likened unto his woman, his wife, right? Jeremiah 3:1. And throughout the volume of the book. But a wife's job is to forward the will of her husband in the earth, and that's what the prophets are doing. "But if thine eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness? No man can serve two masters." Can't play the fence with the Lord. Can't play both sides. "For either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon." Mammon is the god of money. Okay, so what's being said to you here, if you're trying to pursue both, at some point, the time will come when they make opposing demands. Let's the precept I thought about was Proverbs 23:5. But I would like to read it in the NLT. I want to see how it reads there. So bear with me while I switch it over. NLT. Okay, it says, in the blink of an eye, wealth disappears. But it will sprout wings and fly away like an eagle. Yeah, man. Moth and rust doth corrupt. It can be taken away from you here on this side. But if you build riches in the kingdom to come, that's an investment that cannot be taken away from you. Now I want to go back to Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. Read it one more time. It reads what? Oops, this is in the KJV. Oh, it says that's the whole story. Here now is my final conclusion. Fear God and obey his commands, for this is everyone's duty. And you look up that word duty. This is what it says. It says obligatory service. You're obligated. It's your obligation. That which ought to be done. Also the force, that which is morally right. What? Owed. We owe the Lord our obedience. On the notion that which is one bound by natural, moral, or legal obligation to do or perform. All right, so now we go back to Matthew, the 19th chapter, and we're at where were we at? I gotta go back over to the KJV, Salakia. Yeah, 21. Or was I at 20? No. We were in Matthew 19. We're in Matthew 6, Salakia. Man, Matthew 6 and 19. Uh, yeah. And I was down here. Yeah, I want to read this one more time. Matthew 6 and 24. No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon. And the thing about the men of the Lord is this isn't something they're going to be willing to compromise on. The same way money is a priority for people in the world, uh, we know our money, our through the Spirit, is our connection to the Father, our obedience to Him, the forwarding of His will. Something that we're not going to compromise on. You see? So, like the scriptures say, the love of money is the root of all evil. Because people, these carnal guys that are attacked, that love the money and the lifestyle and the gifts that come with it, a gift destroyeth the heart. They're going to be willing to do things that are morally improper to keep it, to get it. All right. So the Lord isn't going to be with them at the end of the day. All right. So we jump back over to the list. So money earns a minimum of 10K a month. And so we kind of covered that. Our riches are spiritual. And then it says length. And this might be a little pixelated for you guys, but I'm reading it. It says earns that much money for the last 3 to 5 years. So this is basically talking about longevity, the patience. You see, with the men of the Lord, this is a life sentence. Pursuing the Lord, which is our money, our relationship with the Most High. That's something that once you start, we're not to take our hand away from the plow. I touched on this in my lesson earlier today. All right, and like the scriptures say, and ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. So this is brought up in the high value list to show consistency. Yeah, this isn't somebody who's having a hot streak. No, this is somebody who's buckled down, fell in love with the work. Okay. And then we continue on, and that was pretty quick. And I'm pretty sure there's precepts and Abaratazah, if you're watching it live or if you come back later, put in parentheses the title for each one of these bullets, right? And if you have a precept falling up under how we have this in the spirit, put the title, so you can put like in brackets money, and then you'll put the spirit, how we spiritually are rich, and then our length or group assistance or what, any of these bullets, and you can show it, because this will be a video I share, amongst brothers and share every now and then, just to show, hey man, This is where our value comes from. The thing about it is, we're not going to get the appreciation here on this side for having these things in the spirit until everything hits the fan here. But this is the year, hopefully, year of Jacob's trouble. All right, back to the list here. So it says group assistance, which is the next one. Okay, he's known by other high value men. That's what it says. So he has a net. Okay, well, I'm not going to touch on network, but he has a community of other men who are on the same mission as him, who he's spiritually charged by. Do we not have that? Especially here in Dallas, man. I have been blessed with the opportunity to move over here to be a part of this bigger camp. Now I still had that even when I was with Elder Manata Zakba. That's a heavy dude. You all know that. When you come into this truth, first off, you have to you're forced to have mentors. That's what they would call it in the world. You need mentors to help you learn how to navigate. We're forced to have mentors. We have to have teachers. You can't even get this knowledge. The Lord, it's the way He set it up. Is you're forced to be. He sets it up to where you can't be a loser. You have to have teachers that show you the ropes, and you learn from their experiences and all of these things. So off a rip, you have, other high value men, and if you continue in the work and you're pursuing the spiritual money, you build relationships with these men. Okay, let's get some precepts here. All right, so this is Psalms 133. It says, "Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity." Right? And we're in unity because we all speak the same thing. It's actually commanded of us to speak the same thing. Let's actually go get that. 1 Corinthians, I believe the first chapter and the 10th verse. Put up here. All right, this is 1 Corinthians 1 and 10. "Now I beseech you, brethren, by the name of our Lord Yahushua Mashiach, that ye all speak the same thing, and that there be no divisions among you." This is why we can't have unity camps. "But that ye be perfectly joined together in the same mind and in the same judgment." See? And like I mentioned before, the way the Lord set it up is that we have to go through teachers so that we get the understanding. So we have the mentors the same way, and that's one of the things that may not be mentioned on this list. It's kind of implied when you talk about the group assistance and network part here in the list. But the Lord set it up to where, we all have teachers, starting with the apostles and elders, a great millstone all down. It says, "And though the Lord give you the bread of adversity," right? We've been given adversity here on this side, and that's not something that we could supersede. And we understand that on a more intimate level than the masses do. You see Jake out here scrambling and trying to do all these various things. They're all trying to escape the curses. That's what they're really trying to do. They're trying to get some relief in the spirit. But we know this is something that we have to endure for the time being, and we deserve it. We know why we're under the curses. We know why we're in these conditions. But we know that even though we're being chastised, we're to be like Job was. All right. Job 2 and 10, he tells you, and let me actually just pull it up. I'll pull it up on a different tab here. Just to nail the point home of what I'm actually saying to you. Scriptures are gonna say it much better than me. This is Job 2 and 10. This is when he was being afflicted, and the devil was permitted, or Satan was permitted, to afflict his health. We'll start at verse 8. It says, so he had boils all over him, right? "And he took him a potsherd to scrape himself withal, and he sat down among the ashes," because he had the boils on him. Then said his wife unto him, "Dost thou still retain thine integrity? Curse God and die." And it's something that's always interesting. The Lord took everything from Job. He allowed everything to be taken from Job, his children, everything, his financial situation. And Job was such a fixture in that economy. He was the wealth he had, the nation, he employed people. Him going through all of that affected not just his household, but it affected that the people in the area, it affected the country. It was a big deal when Job was going through all of this. So, but the point I want to make is that Satan left his wife alive because, especially here on this side, man, and that goes back all the way to the curse in Genesis. The woman adds fuel to the fire, man, of our affliction here on this side, but that's going to be reversed in the kingdom to come. But it says, verse 9 again, then said his wife unto him, dost thou still retain thine integrity? Curse God and sisters, don't be this woman. Curse God and die. But he said unto her, thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh. He checked her as he should. And we check the women too. We check the brothers. We check everybody through the Spirit. Shall we, and this is the point I want to get in this verse here. Shall we receive good at the hand of God? And shall we not receive evil? So you're going to receive both. You're going to be chastised. You're going to be blessed. It's going to be a balance. But through it all, and all this did not Job sin with his lips. Through it all, you're supposed to still maintain that pious behavior. People like to read Job 9, not Job. People like to read Philippians 3 and 14 in the world, but they don't really get the fullness of what's being said. It's talking about understanding how to operate, whether you're being put in a low position or a high one. Then it goes on to say, I can do all things through the Lord who strengthens me. Let's actually go get that real quick. But you can't be equipped to maneuver being brought low or lifted up. Because being lifted up, that's what really destroys people. When people get a little money, when they get a little status, that's when their imperfections are magnified. All right. But here in the Philippians, the 3rd chapter, okay, let's start at verse No, this ain't Philippians, man. Bro. That, let me scroll down. What's going on? That's my bad. All right, this is Philippians, the 4th chapter. They like to quote Philippians 4 and 13. But I'm gonna start at verse 10. It says, but I rejoiced in the Lord greatly that now at the last your care of me hath flourished again, wherein you were also careful, but you lacked opportunity. Not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content. I know both how to be abased, brought low, and I know how to be abound. Everywhere and in all things I am instructed both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. Then it goes on to say, I can do all things through the Mashiach, which strengtheneth me. Okay? So the men of the Lord, they're the ones that are, through that fear, which gives them access to the knowledge, then they get access to that full armor of God. Okay? Through the protection, to the provision, to the problem solving. All right? We went off on a tangent a little bit, but let's go back to what we were reading in Isaiah 30 and 20. It says, and though the Lord give you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, yet shall not thy teachers be removed in a corner anymore. And starting with Abba Bivens on down to now, we were giving access to the understanding once more in our time. Yet shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner anymore, but thine eyes shall see thy teachers, which, even unto this day, even though our apostles are up in age, man, they're still on the highways and byways. They're still on the chief places of concourse and doing the work, man. Instant in season and out of season. So group acceptance. All right. He's known by other high value men. So you're forced to have a relationship with other men who know this truth when you come in. And then as you continue to grow over that length of time, you start to form more heavier bonds with brothers all over the world, because we're all over the world. And you have a network of other high value men, especially here in Babylon. You can go to any major city, and if you're a great millstone, there's brothers there. They can help you get going. They can let you know, hey, go here. If you look for this, you can sup with, y'all can make lessons, y'all can dive into the spirit, you know, exhort each other, so yeah, we have it. So far, we're 4 for 4 here. And it says visibility. Well, we just mentioned, and it says on LinkedIn level. Well, I guess for us, it would be a YouTube level, right? Or the unicorn. Okay. Because the scriptures talk about our line going out throughout all the earth. And that's going to be through, the internet, man. The Lord created internet so this word could go out. So this devil created thought he created it for his reasons, but it backfired on him. And so that's us being on the chief places of conquerors. We've been given our arena on which to teach. And that's, let's go to Proverbs 1. Okay. 20. Just start there. Because everybody knows about the Hebrew Israelites, man. Everybody, you know, whether they see it as a good or bad thing, they know. You can't avoid it. Every major city, you're gonna walk by a camp. You go down Saturday, Friday, shit, even here Tuesday night, you walking around downtown, you're gonna run into the men of the Lord. So here in Proverbs 1:20, it says, "For wisdom crieth without; she uttereth her voice in the streets. She crieth in the chief place of concourse, in the openings of the gates in the city. She uttereth her words, saying, the chief place of concourse." So back in ancient times, the cities would be walled. We have gates around them, and the prophets would sit at the front of the gates where the most heaviest foot traffic would be, coming and going with the people, and bring out the word. And now downtown here, in every major city, what do you have? You have the men of the Lord, the chief places of concourse, bringing out the word, the visibility aspect there. Okay. Utility. He's relied upon and useful to the group. And LDR Rowler here in Dallas, he always touches on this, man. When you become a part of the ministry, you found out, hey, what do you do? And how do you magnify that to help push the ministry forward? How can you be helpful to the group? And you kind of figure out over time what you bring to the table, and you grow in your utility. Okay. And we all required to understand the fullness of the scriptures, the prophecies, the breakdowns, and you got to know a little bit of Hebrew. There's some brothers who are they're a history guy. There's some brother who's a Hebrew guy. There's some brother that, hey, they make sure when we have class in camp that we all got cups and things like that. There's brothers that cook. There's brothers that uh, get different aspects of little intimate conversations so that the flock can get a aspect on the culture of what the ministry is about, or how to be and operate, something that they can't necessarily get by just always watching a camp video. It's hard to kind of glean with the culture, the aspect of how you deal with one another. I try to get those clips, those conversations going amongst brothers so that you guys can see, because a lot of people that know scriptures, but they don't understand the culture about what how to be. They haven't seen it, so they really don't know. Yeah, so utility, you grow in that utility. We're forced to be useful. Never want to run out of usefulness. So that was the list, and we have all those things in the spirit. And having these things, we have more than this too. I might have to make a part 2 to I want to make a part 2 of this with with another brother, but having these qualities in the spirit is going to lead us to something that can't be bought, that no amount of money or status on this side could give you. And what is that? Immortality, of course. All right, this is Romans 2:7. To them who by patient continuance in well-doing seek for glory and honor and immortality and eternal life. You being a high value man carnally on this side is not going to give you eternal life, bro. All right? And kingship, rulership, dominion of the earth. Wisdom of Solomon 6:21. If your delight be in thrones and scepters, O ye kings of the people, high value men of the people, honor wisdom, that ye may reign forevermore alongside Yahweh Shai, man, under him, under King David. So, with that being said, man, Abarat Tazah, the lesson was edifying. probably I hope brothers see this and do responses. I hope it's, gives you, uplifts brothers and gives some brothers perspective. It was edifying. So once more, I want to give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Quadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And I want to say shalom to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth. May the blessing of election be upon your house. Shalom.